Welcome back to the 5 O'Clock Sweats podcast, the podcast where we like to talk about the things we like to do when we're off the clock, not working. Today, I'm joined by the handsomest, the most handsome, the sexiest, the one and only.
Man, the longer that sentence dragged on, I'm like, is he going to find a way to zig and zag on this one and be like, Master Chief behind me, actually. No, I'm Derick. Hi, everyone.
All right, and today we are going to be discussing outdoor activities because as we are talking today, it is March 11th, and we just had probably the warmest day we've had in quite some time, probably since at least the fall.
Yeah, this is definitely the first day, at least this year, that hasn't been one of those like cusp days. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
like,
it was
hot.
Hot.
A few in the last week where I'm like, yeah, I could open my window, but I'm still gonna need like a hoodie and probably some sweatpants or something like that. Not the case today. Today was beautiful.
Oh, it was gorgeous outside, and just like got me really excited because I think we're finally ready to put winter in our rear view window. I cannot say that. Goodbye to that 30 degree or lower temperature, frigid, because it was a friggin' cold winter.
Oh yeah,
more so than usual. So just happy that we had almost 70 degree weather today. The sun was out and shining. I'm watching a dog right now, and took her out for a walk this morning at like 9:30 a.m. and it was really nice out. I was in shorts, t-shirt. It was awesome. Then I played some outdoor pickleball. So it was a good day. And then I went for a walk afterwards. It was just I spent a lot of time outside today, and it was really nice.
When was the last time you played like regular outdoor pickleball? Because I feel like you've been indoors mostly.
Yeah, I didn't play any in the winter. It was so frigid. So basically, probably since November, maybe, or October of last year.
Is it the same place you used to go to in the fall? Did you just go back there? Cool.
Yeah, I went back there today, and it was popping. It was popping. Let me tell you that. I got there at 4. I was like one of the first people there. I got there around 4 o'clock today, and usually after like 4:30, 5 o'clock, it gets crazy there, and it got crazy there today.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was nice to see the courts crowded again. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to be talking about outdoor activities today. We're going to be talking about some outdoor activities we liked to do when we were younger, growing up, get a little nostalgic, and then we'll talk about some things we like to do now that we're decrepit, old, geriatric 30-year-olds. What do we like to do outside when it is nice out and we're given these opportunities to enjoy the weather? So Derick,
I mean, it is worth noting you are older than me by a considerable margin.
Yeah, by a lot.
But almost double-digit number of weeks.
Almost.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm basically I'm old enough to be your father. If you really think about it.
What did you do growing up as a kid?
Yeah, so
it's gonna move
back in my day, Sonny boy. So every time it gets warm out, I think back to like the simpler times, the times where we didn't have to worry about all the things we have to worry about nowadays: work, bills,
keeping
and work,
yourself alive,
and other things. Yeah, just like surviving daily. Yeah, I get very nostalgic for the times where you could literally just wake up and not have anything to worry about, and then just the only thing you're worried about was when are we going outside, when are we hanging out with friends, where are my friends, are they going to be able to hang out today? That was all you're really worried about. Or like, is it going to rain today? Because that sucks if it's going to rain today. So back in the day, the first thing I think of really is just like bicycles.
Me too. So I had a hard time trying to remember all the stuff that I used to do outside as a kid.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, again, it's been a number of years. And also, like, I don't know, you just did stuff as a kid. Like, I didn't commit a lot of that to memory. Like, I was just playing, you know?
Yeah, you could do the simplest idea could blossom into just hours and hours of fun.
Yeah, like ride bikes.
Like riding bikes. Bikes before cars, before we had our licenses, we had our bikes. And I miss the simplicity of just hopping on your bike and then just riding. And I lived in a neighborhood where I had friends that lived, a block or two away. So basically I would wake up, get on my bike, go down the street, and we kind of had like a an unofficial meetup area, on the corner.
I know exactly which corner too.
Yeah. So
let me guess. You walked out of your house and went left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I figure you'd be curving around the other way to get to that friend's house.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I understand.
Yeah. So we would just meet on the corner and then just go from there. What were we doing for the day? We didn't know. We didn't have plans. I don't even know if we had cell phones back then. I forget. I don't know if I had a cell phone at this point. I think this was pre-cell phones, so we were just having to meet up IRL and or knock on people's doors to see oh, so and so able to come out. Most of the time we would get a bunch of kids from the neighborhood. The area where I grew up was the hub. So we had friends in my town from blocks and blocks, streets away.
Your town, which is now my town.
Your town, yeah, it's funny.
Which I forgot about until just now, yeah.
They would all bike travel over to where we were at, and then once we had a good amount of people, we would do mostly pick up basketball. We would do either two-hand touch football, but mostly tackle football.
Yeah,
or we would play baseball. We would play baseball or wiffle ball or whatever. And we would that would be our day. If it was summer out, we would go in a pool somewhere. But my favorite things to do were were football or baseball, tackle football especially. That was a lot of fun. It got really competitive. Probably super dangerous. As we were just literally tackling each other. We could have gotten injured. Luckily, I don't recall any major injuries happening. I know I didn't get hurt. I mean, people maybe got the wind knocked out of them, but nothing crazy. I mean, we were basically invincible back then.
Oh God, to have that confidence now, man.
Dude, it was intense. I mean, and we used to do that at a lot of different places. We had a couple different locations we would play football at specifically. And it was not just people in my in our age group. We had some older kids that would come and play as well, and that was always fun because the older kids are here. They're bigger, they're stronger. Let's see what we can do. And we'd always try to divide the teams up somewhat evenly, so each team had an older kid with them, so it wasn't completely lopsided. So that was a lot of fun. Baseball obviously was a ton of fun. We would go to we would actually go to the official fields over in the park in my town. We would just I think they were basically public. So we would just, if there was nothing going on, we would just go there and have an actual baseball field to play on. We would just pitch to each other and hit. Sometimes we would just have home run derbies. I loved home run derbies. Those were so much fun.
So fun.
Oh yeah, we just get a huge bucket
of.
Oh yeah, I would. I have within the last 10 years, I've played home run derby on a little league field.
Wow.
Which was awesome. But we would just get a bucket of baseballs that we just so happen to have and just throw pitch to each other and do 10 swings each round and see how many home runs you could hit. And it was so much fun. And then on top of that, organized sports obviously played a role as well. Was very active as a kid, so I was playing baseball, basketball.
I forgot I did that too.
Yeah, I mean I mean that counts as well because those were outside, except for basketball. Basketball's mostly inside, but Little League, I have fond memories of Little League baseball, and then football. Obviously, I didn't start playing organized football until 8th grade. Which was my first year, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I was a very active child, whether it was just unofficially playing with like friends and just like the neighborhood people and just doing whatever we did. And then like organized sports through the town. Did a lot of those as well. Was usually involved. Oh yeah, I played soccer too. Soccer was my least favorite.
Yeah, that's what I just wrote down because I'm like, oh shit, I forgot that I tried that.
I played defense because there's no way I was running up and down. I was not running up and down the field. I mean, especially if you saw pictures of me, like Child Ryan, I was not built for that. I was built for defense.
Aerodynamic.
It was not aerodynamic, no. But yeah, those are what come to mind
built
initially.
For defense.
I was built for defense.
So good.
You look at me and I'm just like, yeah, that kid's playing defense.
No, he's not getting past this guy.
Nope. But what about you? What did you what'd you get into when you were a youngster?
There's kind of a couple different eras of me being little. So we'll kind of go through it. So I also used to ride bikes a lot. I wish I knew what the brand was. It wasn't like any
Mongoose?
of the popular like big brands or anything, but it had a really, really nice like shock system. And I just remember riding that around. I didn't go to the same school as a lot of people in my town. And the school that I did go to, I think my year had like 40 or 50 kids in it or something like that total. And just pure coincidence, one of them lived across the street from me. So like there was a summer where her and I would just like meet up, ride bikes around to like other kids in our school.
Yeah.
And then just keep riding around the town.
Just keep gathering.
Yeah.
Like a little biker gang.
Yeah. Small Catholic children. But I miss that bike a lot. Eventually I started skateboarding more. Maybe that's more towards like 8th grade high school. Because yeah, I guess that would make sense because I think I wanted something to do before I got to high school, you know what I meant? And
yeah,
I thought skateboarding was going to be it. And I've told the story on this podcast before about me trying to Steve Caballero with his guitar on a skateboard.
Oh no.
And then just destroying my lip doing that.
Beefing it, yeah.
So that didn't really stick for me. Other wheeled objects. I also had a Razor scooter, which was painful.
Shout out to the scooter. That was also a secondary mode of transportation for us.
I feel like I didn't even really like try to do tricks or like whip the shit around or anything. You know what I mean?
No, because you're gonna fucking destroy your shins.
Yeah, even without doing that, I destroyed my shins, and also like the ball on the outside of your ankle.
Dude. Yeah, it would just happen. Like I would just be like stationary with the scooter, and it would just somehow like I would like lift it off the ground a little bit, and it would like find its way to my ankle or my shin each time. I don't know.
It's like a homing device.
Dude, they need to put like cushions on those things or something, because I mean, maybe that might be why I had shin splints when I was younger.
From just getting bashed by Razor scooters repeatedly.
That's like, I would rather have all my fingernails ripped off than have that happen repeatedly.
Jesus. I thought you were going to say I would rather step on Legos, which I would rather step on Legos. I would rather do
that too. Yeah, for sure.
Bash myself with a Razor scooter. Those are some of the like wheeled things that I did. And as far as sports go, I only recovered this memory when you were talking about soccer, but I must have been like 6 or something like that, or maybe probably like 6 or 7, somewhere around there. And I remember going to soccer camp. Was it a camp? Maybe. I think there was an Australian guy who was the instructor, which is just now popping into my head. The only thing I remember about it is there's somebody that we went to high school with named Andy, and he's much taller than I am now. And even when I was 6, dude, he was a big kid.
Yeah.
And I just remember he was cutting everybody up in soccer. And I just felt like not good at soccer. Like my shin pads kept turning around to like face the wrong way. Like this ain't going good, y'all. Also, for some reason we didn't catch that we put my red like high soccer socks in with my like white shin guards and like all our other stuff. So I ended up having like pink shin guards and and socks, and that's not what you want for a 6-year-old Filipino boy to be running around.
Blood. It's blood.
It used to be blood, I swear.
I worked really hard on this sock. I left it all on the field.
I can't believe I don't know how long that lasted. I know for sure I went there for at least 2 weeks because I remember going there once with white shin guards and once with pink shin guards. It was probably like a 6-week thing. Only remember 2 of them. Sorry. The other kind of organized thing I did is I used to play basketball a lot, actually. In 3rd and 4th grade, I was on the 3rd and 4th grade team where they don't say no to anybody.
No,
and I was
everyone plays.
Extremely bad. I think I was on I was on the JV team. I don't think both years though. But I was also on the JV B team because I was just real bad, man. And again, my class only had 50 kids in it. And like I wasn't anywhere near the top half of this class. Dipping into the bleakness a little bit, I did get very, very sick when I was a kid, and that's what happened between the 2 years of JV. So I just was unable to play sports for a while after that. I really liked basketball, and I still do like basketball. I can guarantee that I've lost my shot because I just tried shooting around at my parents' place many times over the last 5 years, and it does not go well for me.
Do they have a net there?
They did.
Okay.
Until fairly recently.
Oh, did it blow over or something in the wind?
Yeah, it was just like real old, and the backboard started to get brittle. So even if it was up, like it wasn't really doing anything. And trying to like fold it back down and dispose of just wasn't working because everything was rusted to shit.
Yeah.
So I was just like, all right, let's break this shit down. So unfortunately,
there's got to be some courts. I know for a fact there's some courts, public courts close to where you live. You can just go and shoot some hoop if you want.
Yeah, I should do that. But there was, I think a lot of what I think of being a kid outside is playing with my neighbors. I live next door to 3 siblings. The oldest one is 4 years younger, and then I guess 1 or 2 down each of them. That doesn't really matter, but because I was so sickly, like the 2 oldest kids who were again 4 and 5 or 6 years younger than me, both of them were bigger than me. So I was just like the smallest 13-year-old, basically.
No.
But we would play at the end of our street because there was a basketball hoop that a teacher at the school named Miss Donovan, she doesn't live there anymore. I think she moved down to Florida or something like that. But Miss Donovan would just let people use her basketball hoop. It was just set up
awesome.
like in the ground on the street.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, so we would play. It had the easy adjust thing on the back.
Yeah.
So like even when we were kids, we could be like, all right, let's put this down to 6 and start dunking.
I'm lowering that thing. Yeah.
Which was super fun. And then trying to bump it all the way up to 10 and be like, all right, let's see if we can make fucking anything.
Yeah. Dude, I'm awful at basketball, but I do thoroughly enjoy just like shooting around, just like having a ball and just like, I don't want to play an actual game because I'm not built for that, but I will just shoot like if you want to play horse or something, I'm down for that. But if you also just want to shoot hoops, like just casually, like a little shoot around, like I'm always up for that.
Hell yeah. There's like a really cool basketball court at where I work, which I don't go into the office anymore, but
yeah.
I remember it must have been 2016 or something like that. Me and some people I hung out with at work would just go to this basketball court, and it's like, because it was so hilly, it's like in the Pennsylvania, it's kind of by that quarry. That's going to mean almost nothing, but because of the geography, it's kind of like set in a bowl. So when you're standing on the court, you can look up and just see like hill, trees, and that's it.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool. Super cool. And we would play horse there and just kind of shoot around at lunch. But that didn't last too long because we figured out that the rims sucked the ball sack. So we just didn't. But I mean, other than that, as a kid, I'd same as you. Backyard football, random basketball games, riding 2 to 4 wheeled objects.
Yeah, I did try skateboarding for a hot minute. I had a skateboard growing up. Tried it for like one day and said, "This is not it. This isn't for me."
Ain't it.
Nope. I think I fell a couple times. I was like, "Nope. I'll stick with Tony Hawk Pro Skater. This skateboard's going to go back in the garage where I think it still sits. It has not been touched in a long time."
I'm going to go find that next time.
And while you were talking, I thought of some other things I used to do as a kid. I loved fishing. I still love fishing.
On my list too, yeah.
I just don't go fishing anymore, but I still do like fishing. I need a new pole. I actually got rid of my pole, the last year or two because it just got all rusted up. It was all tangled and shit. So I was like, this thing is
fucking cut our losses.
Yeah, I just need to upgrade my rod.
I don't know what it is about today. I feel like normally we would just kind of like silently acknowledge that and see what happens. This time we're like,
yeah, I need to upgrade my rod game, baby. But yeah, I used to love fishing with my friends back in the day. We used to go to the same park we would do home run derbies at. They have a lake area where you could fish, and used to go there all the time. I also would go to a bridge that went over the bay in one of the towns adjacent to where I grew up, and would just get there at like 9 a.m., sometimes 8 a.m., back when I was a morning person. And we would just fish there for like 3 to 4 hours. Some days we'd catch nothing, but some days we would actually... It was all worth it if we caught one decent fish.
And about how old do you think you were for this?
Well, I was a little older in this scenario, so I was probably
28, 29.
I was probably like between 15 and 18, 15 and 19.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then doing the same thing a little older as well, but that was like prime like fishing years. We used to catch a lot of flounder, some they called them sunnies over at the park, bass, on some bass.
Yeah, it's one of them.
A lot of seaweed.
Oh yeah, yep.
That was the biggest tease ever, when you're reeling something in, you're like, oh, I think I got something, and it's just
it's heavy,
a big fucking pile of seaweed that just came together.
A big old Connie salad.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And besides,
I also used to go fishing a lot.
Yeah.
I know I'm making myself laugh here, but I used to play World of Warcraft in like freshman, sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
And each race has like a thing that they're just built in good at. They call that the racial passive or whatever. So like goblins are good at this specific thing. I remember joking with one of my friends, like, I've got the racial passive for fishing just because I'm Filipino.
Yeah.
But as a kid, like, some of the fondest memories I have are going to the beach and fishing with my dad and his siblings and his family.
That's awesome.
And I feel like we must have gone a lot because my dad now goes like almost every day during fishing season.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
I would love to go with
have
him.
been out there. We need to go. I don't think I've ever been fishing with a friend.
Oh, you got it.
I've only ever been fishing with my family.
We got to go. But he fishes from the beach, like from the sand.
Yeah, back awesome. In the day, we used to have like a drag net kind of. Mm-hmm. So I remember this so vividly. One of them, half vividly. One of them is a pole, and then you wrap the net around it and then stretch it, and on the other end was like a red broom handle. Essentially, one person would stand there, the other person would take the broom handle and like go out into the ocean and then come back to the beach, and then they just drag all the like little anchovies up, like all the
little minnows.
Yeah, the ones that people use for bait.
Yeah,
we eat those. We eat them a lot.
Yeah,
and like I even remember like just eating them straight out of the net. And like, because my sister hated it, and my dad would always laugh. And I think, I was so young. I'm like, I can do it too. I'm just sitting there throwing these live fish
you'd eat these fish, right? All like you'd catch them and they'd be alive, flopping around.
I mean, they're small.
But the bones, the bones are so small, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Interesting. Well, if we go fishing, I want you to do that.
Easy.
Maybe I'll do them with you. We'll cheers. We'll cheers a little minnow, but, and then we'll bottoms up.
I remember doing that, and then at some point when I got older, it was like actual using a rod to fish, and that was me and my dad and my sister, and that was really fun because I remember there was one specific day where all three of us we just could not stop getting hits. Like we were just reeling them in and throwing them in buckets. It was so cool. And then my dad, he's got a great technique for like the cast nets that he tries to teach me every time.
Casting was always my issue, but go ahead.
It's wild. I think I have pictures. Like I did a little burst shot when we were down in South Carolina.
You did. I remember you showed me those.
It's crazy seeing it like the net draped on his shoulder. You got all the weights like hanging down, and he just kind of like, hup, and then just, it spreads out into a perfect circle.
Yeah.
And then he's trying to teach his brothers how to do it. And I think I have pictures of his brother also casting this net, and it comes out like a kidney bean. But like my dad will get stopped by other fishermen. Like, how you do that? Yeah, and he's like, "Fucking, I'll show you, man."
It's a racial passive.
Yeah, like, are you Filipino? Come over here.
I was born this way. It's inherent.
But that's one of the things I want to get back into as an adult. I would just love to go.
You're
fishing.
In a great area now. You have access to a lot of bodies of water.
I do.
And yeah, I mean, and when I come down, I'm definitely down to indulge in some fishing with you.
Dude,
get your pops out there.
Hell yeah, that'll be
Teach me how to cast.
Teach me how to cast.
Teach me how.
Sorry, I kind of inserted myself in your fishing.
You're good. We had a commonality right there. You also fished when you were younger. It's awesome. In addition to fishing, kind of harkens back to like playing with neighborhood kids, but Manhunt was a big deal in my neighborhood.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Manhunt was an event. Like that was like once, like every Saturday night for a couple summers. That was what we did, and it was so much fun. It was intense too. Like I don't know if I ever felt even like competing in sports I don't know if I ever felt the anxiousness or like nervousness. I felt like hiding from someone during Manhunt.
Yeah, Manhunt for me was, I've never ran so long continuously by choice.
Oh yeah.
Like if I was running for recreation, in my mind, I'm like, if I'm tired, I can just stop. I can walk. It's fine. But when it's Manhunt and you have somebody chasing you down through somebody's neighborhood, you're just going to keep running.
Yeah. It was intense, man. It was intense. Like, I felt like I was running from the police. Like, it just it feels very visceral. And I'm sure like the neighbors, like as an adult now, like I can't imagine like how the neighbors felt. Like a lot of the neighbors were like friendly with us.
Yeah,
but
it's like,
I'm
these
sure there
kids are in my bushes again.
Yeah, like these kids are in my yard again. Like, what are they doing? Like they're in my backyard. Like they hop the fence somehow, and they're in the yard. Like, what are they doing here? Kick the can too. Another game, kind of like Manhunt, but different. I don't know if you ever played Kick the Can, but it's essentially.
Is it what it says on the tin?
Yeah. So it's essentially Manhunt, but there's a can at like home base or at the base, and your goal is to kick the can.
Yeah, makes sense.
You gotta open up a window of opportunity to kick that can. And yeah, and I don't know I forget the rest of the rules, but I'm pretty sure it's just like Manhunt, except your goal is to kick the can. There's like an offense and a defense.
One flag.
And then this just popped in my head too, but during school, like recess, wall ball. Wall fucking ball.
At least on my end with the delay, we said that at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I knew exactly what you were going to say.
Dude, wall ball was awesome. Man, so much fun.
You know some of the names I grew up with.
Yeah.
Particularly a man named Steven. That was... If Steven was throwing the ball and you were on that wall, you were just praying. You were just praying like, you left with all of your limbs.
It was guys like him that eventually got the game banned. Like schools had to ban it because people were getting beamed in the head with tennis balls. Yeah, we played it. We didn't just play it at school. We played it like we were at the park. Like any place that had like a brick building or a brick wall, we would. If we had a tennis ball with us, we were playing wall ball.
Yeah, me and my neighbors played it against like pretty much next to my garage door, and that section of brick is maybe this wide.
Yeah.
So we really made do with it.
I feel like that game's got to come back. Like I want to come back with this generation, or I want to like make an adult wall ball league. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Oh my god!
I don't know if people would like to get pegged with the ball, but maybe you can wear like some sort of like armor or something, or like extra layers or something. I don't know.
Let me don my studded leather armor to go to my wall ball league.
But this is how I remember playing wall ball. And I don't know, maybe you guys play it differently, but essentially you and everyone else, you're throwing the tennis ball against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
If you throw the ball and someone catches it, you have to run to the wall before they either throw the ball at the wall or they hit you with the ball or throw it at you. Okay. And that was just the game. Like you were just, as soon as you threw it and someone caught it, you were just racing to the wall.
Yeah.
To touch it.
You, from wherever you picked up the ball, you had to throw it at the wall, right?
Yeah.
And then if somebody got in the way, either on purpose or not, I think they also have to go touch a wall. Yeah.
I think so.
And then whoever's up for pegging is up for pegging.
Everyone likes a good peg.
So what else did you do? Yo, Foursquare?
Yeah, I did play some Foursquare.
Yeah.
Not as much, but there was a Foursquare setup in front of my old middle school. So there were times during recess we'd play that as well. I don't really recall exactly how to play that game. as much.
Yeah, it's kind of like pickleball, but without a net and paddles.
So you try to like get the ball into the squares?
Yeah. Or maybe it's more like tennis because you are trying to kind of go through the square.
Is it like you have to throw it to the person across from you or something like that? Or I don't remember.
It doesn't really. I noted this down under my teen section because I played a lot of this while I was in high school, and the way we played it was Jack, Queen, King, Ace. And I think Ace served, and I think Ace had to serve diagonally.
Okay.
And then from there, it's, make it bounce in somebody else's square so that it cannot be returned back into play.
Gotcha.
And then whoever loses, everyone shifts up. Jack to Queen, Queen to King, King to Ace, Ace to Jack. But I had completely forgotten I played that a lot in high school. Along with Frisbee, interestingly.
Oh, yeah.
Frisbee. I remember
duh.
There's a guy we went to high school with, Chris, one of my good friends, and he lived across the street from a church that had a very large and mostly unused parking lot. And that's where we would play Foursquare. That's also where we would just throw Frisbee around as well.
Oh, yeah.
And like that's where I learned how to skim it off the ground good.
Yeah.
I think that's also where I learned how to forehand.
Little forehand flick, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
which has served me well in the last 20 years.
It has. Yeah, I love I love throwing Frisbee. Honestly, just the simplicity of just having a catch in general, whether it's with a Frisbee or a baseball or a football. I don't think anything ever tops that for me. Like, I just love doing that. It's so leisurely. And it's just like, it's competitive in the sense that like you're just trying to make a perfect throw every time. But it's also not competitive because there's no stakes whatsoever.
Yeah. And it's also kind of fun if you're thrown to me and you don't hit a perfect pass. It's also fun for me because I have to fucking scramble to still try to catch it.
Oh yeah.
And if you make that catch, you feel great about it.
I'm kind of hoping okay, I hope this throws a little off the mark so I have to actually move to try to get it. Especially in Frisbee. I love chasing after a Frisbee because it just hangs in the air for so long and you can get under it. It's so much fun. And then
I will say that rule changes a little bit when you're on a beach. Because it's fun running after stuff the first 4 to 5 times.
Yes.
Every time after that sucks.
Although if you're playing closer to the water where the sand's not as sandy, where it's more wet and and stiff. You know what I mean.
Oh, that was a laugh mo. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll Google that later. Figure it.
Yeah. Wet and stiff. But if you're playing closer to the water, it's better. It's it's not like you're running on sand per se. It's a little different, but I get what you mean. And also when you're having a catch with a football, I've never had a catch with a football and not had to run a route, or I guess every time I throw a football, I have to run a route. I'm not just throwing a football like I would have a baseball catch. I'm not just standing there throwing to someone else who's also standing there. We're running routes, whether it's me or you. And actually
running it.
And the thing about it is both parts are equally as fun. I love running routes and catching passes. I also love being the quarterback per se and throwing it to the person running the route. It's so satisfying, just hitting a perfect pass when they're coming out of their route, and it's right there for them.
I'm imagining us doing that, but with our ultimate Frisbee from freshman year of college on the Rowan intramural field.
Yeah. Although RIP to that one.
So satisfying. I'm actually thinking the purple one. The purple one that was there our freshman year. Kevin took photos of us. It used to be one of my profile pictures of me just with a purple disc.
I do remember that. I just think of the one that we stole from the Ultimate Frisbee team.
It's so broken.
That thing blew up basically. Like, it hit a tree or something, and it just literally blew up.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it got like repeatedly heat treated and cooled in the trunk of your car, and just became more brittle.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, it was going through the all the conditions. All right. Well, we talked a lot about what we used to do outside when we were kids. So I think we're going to, we've decided to do a part 2 to this episode that will talk more about what we'd like to do now as 30-something-year-old adults when it's nice outside.
Yep.
Maybe not as much to say, but, I think it is worth at least half an episode in the future. So keep an eye out for that. But now we're going to get into the new segment that we debuted a couple episodes ago, and we're going to officially call it Derick Does Baseball, or DDB for short.
We'll workshop it.
Hashtag DDB.
I do like Derick Does Baseball. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about DDB. We'll see how it goes. But essentially,
it kind of rolls off the tongue.
In when I'm watching baseball now, just anything that catches my ear that I don't totally know, I'll just write it down. I won't look it up. It's more fun this way.
Yes.
But I've got a few questions for you here. The first one is, that there's a saying, it's 90 feet to first. Then what is it? First to second, then to third, and then home. Like, what are the distances?
So it's 90 feet from home to first. It's also 90 feet from first to second. It's also 90 feet from second to third. And then finally from third to home, it's also 90 feet. So I'm not a mathematician, but you want to do 90 times 4, right? Or 4. 200.
Yep.
340. 340.
You're doing great.
No, 360. 360. I am not a math guy. 360 total feet. If you hit a home run, you're trotting 360 feet around the bases.
Yeah, I guess it's 90 feet to first really means like, this is the first step. Like, the thing in front of you is 90 feet.
Yes.
It just kind of bothers me that it's like, it's 90 feet to first, but also to second and also third and home. But we're just not going to put that in the saying.
Well, you gotta start at first you gotta get somewhere. You gotta start somewhere, and starting at first is first. Yeah. You start there first.
Well, you start at home.
You start at home. That's
and
true.
Then it's 90 feet to first.
90 feet to first.
Anyway.
But I did Google it because I was not sure if that number was trimmed down at all, because they did increase the size of the bases a couple years ago. It's still, according to the internet, 90 feet, but I don't know. I thought the bases were increased in size very marginal size. Like, it's just enough to make it. Basically, they wanted to make stolen bases more relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't have the math or the stats in front of me, but I feel like stolen bases have gone up a little bit.
Stolen braces. Disgusting.
All these braces are getting stolen. Someone has a sick fetish or something. Anyway, I don't want to get on a tangent, but to add a little tidbit to what you said, or to what you asked, is also 60 feet 6 inches from the pitcher's mound to home plate.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to do math later. I'm not going to do it now live because I'm bad at it, so I'll do it later.
Okay.
I'm going to roll through. You want to do one more or two more?
I think we do 2 more.
All right. Why is batting average on a 0 to 1 scale instead of a 0 to 100 scale?
This is a question that's like, it's really getting to the nitty gritty of like baseball, of like the origin of statistics in baseball, I guess. And I don't have an answer for you, really. The only answer I have is that's just the way it is. That's the way it's always been. You might look at someone's average and be like, oh, a 250 batting average, basically 25% batting average. Like, that's bad, right? But it's not, though. Like, that's actually like a pretty it's about an average batting average. Anything in baseball, I would say above like 280 or more is pretty damn good. 300 and above is really good. And then if you're above 330, like that's pretty crazy. I mean, there have been people that have hit 400 in a season, like back in the day. I think there was a couple players that have hit like 380, 370, 360 for a full season, which is pretty unheard of, which is pretty crazy now, especially with how great pitching is now. But I don't have an answer really for why it's on a 0 to 1 scale and not a 0 to 100. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know.
In my mind, you were like, 250, 25%. You're putting it in the terms that it is. It's a percent per 100 cent.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But it's just one of those things where like, yeah, I get it. Like attempts and you do the little division with the actual hits. Like I get that it comes to a sub 1 number. Yes.
Yeah.
Percentage. What is like, I don't know.
Just the way when the old white guys created baseball back in the day, that's just what they decided.
Why?
And it's not just batting average; it's like for all the stats as well, like OBP, OPS, like they're all on the same scale, essentially.
Yeah. And again, I understand mathematically that's what it comes out to, but like, you know. Anyway, I think that's probably the last question for today. The one I was going to ask, I'd like to save for first up in this segment. Next time.
All right. So on deck, to use a baseball term or a baseball saying.
I'll write that one down.
Do you know what that means when I say that? You're on deck?
I'm trying to think of something dumb to say, but you're next up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I have a deck. I don't. So I couldn't even lie about it. I'm like, I have a balcony. Could I say that's a deck? I'm like, oh, shit, that's not it either.
Oh, see, my head went to fucking cards. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic cards.
I think you said, do you still have my Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck?
I think I do.
Wow.
I've been holding it for safekeeping. Yeah. For a rainy day.
Yeah, let's play. Let's do that. Let's play.
Let's duel.
Yeah, let's duel just like we dueled each other with razor scooters and dueled each other in backyard football and also apparently 1 year of JV basketball and no more. Which is all the shit we talked about today in this episode. And if you want a little bit more of us, you can follow us. We are still on Instagram and on X/Twitter. We're at 5 o'clock sweats on both of those platforms. We're also here in video form on YouTube, as well as audio only on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get those ding-dang things. Anything else then this kind of nostalgic episode?
No, sir. But I feel old now. I feel a lot older than I did an hour ago.
Yeah, that's because you are a lot older than me. So, I mean, I still feel young and spry. So, it's probably fine.
Spoken like my son.
Oh, no, I hate it already. Why did I go back to this?
You see the resemblance?
Shoot. And, as always,
stay sweaty.
Every word left my brain. Every single one. Every single word. I stared at your eyes.
I can do it. I can just say it and then
it'll be smoother if I just go right into the questions.